All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Beckley Wrestling Show. Today we got another one of my Buckeyes, man, All-American Ohio Stater in his final season, Gavin Hoffman. How you doing, bro?
Doing great. How about you? Excited to be
I,
here.
I appreciate it, man. More than you know. I hit you up, you jumped right on it, man. So it's definitely excited to talk to you, especially coming into this final year. How's this the beginning of this season treating you, bro? Like coming into this final season.
Yeah, it's kind of been a roller coaster, not planned. The weight change was kind of recent. It was nothing that planning over the summer, so it was kind of sudden. Not really, uh, yeah, not really looking to make the move, but yeah, just kind of sudden. A lot of unpredictable things come up. Was a little banged up in the early part of October, had to sit out for a week or two. So yeah, like injuries, and then decided on the weight change. So yeah, it's been kind of a hectic couple, month and a half since the season started. But things are starting to calm down, and yeah, starting to find my place, which is always good.
Yeah, because I'll say honestly, with you, I mean, at one point in time in your career, you wrestled heavyweight. So when
Mhm.
I heard about the 184 drop, what is that transition like going from, your basic 197, sometimes touching on heavyweight to your final year, you go down to 184. Like, is it been a I guess a difficult transition for you, or has it been fairly easy just with the nutritionist that they got? Because I heard they got you guys have one of the best around from what Coach Ryan was saying. So, just what's it been like for you, buddy?
Yeah, it's been I knew it was going to be a risk going into it. I knew it was going to be tough. It wasn't going to be easy, but I've been surprised that it's been as easy as it has. I wrestled last weekend, those two duels, Hofstra and Columbia, and then the week before too, when the team wrestled Virginia Tech, I also made weight by myself. So got used to getting my weight down, and it was rather easier than expected. Just because how heavy I was in the off season and how heavy I get up to, I thought it was out of reach, but just really, I just have so much support where I'm confident that I can do it week in and week out, and that I could do it the right way. That's the biggest thing, is doing it the right way. And when I do it the right way, it helps me a lot with other aspects of my life, because I have to be that much more disciplined. And like you said, the nutrition, the stuff outside of wrestling, where at 197, I could kind of let stuff slip a lot. My nutrition, I didn't have to be on it 24/7. I could slip up a lot, because I was like, yeah, I'm weighing out of practice 195. I could go home, eat some pizza and ice cream, get my weight back up, make excuses. So yeah, so now it really made me tighten up areas of my life that I haven't before. So I've seen the better in that. And yeah, the resources that we have is incredible. Our strength coach, Kevin Eckelmeyer, I work closely with him, just keeping track of my weight, keeping track of my sleep, and my recovery, making sure that yeah, my body's feeling good as I'm losing the weight. And also, yeah, my strength is a big thing, keeping that up, because that's something that I neglected the first time I went 84. I kind of threw strength out the window, and it didn't matter as long as I was making the weight. But he's really on me about, lifting at least three times a week and keeping my strength up. So yeah, just everything around me is building the confidence that I could do this and do it the right way.
It definitely seems like you look good at it. Like to be honest with you,
Mm,
like when you sit there, and even the way that you wrestle, because like the what I kept my eye on is like Sammy cutting back to 49 last year. You could kind of see like in the beginning of the year, like just even not even just outside of Ohio State, like you've seen people cut, and you know halfway through the second, you can see that it took a toll on them.
yeah.
I mean, granted, you got an early pin in the Columbia duel, and then with Hofstra, it was nice to see you be able to get a little bit more action, get the tech fall, but like that was like I guess the biggest concern. Like, can you cut that weight and still be able to, go 7 minutes? You know what I mean? So, do you feel like at this point in time, like, hey, if you because you're in the Big Ten, you're gonna come across them gritty guys at 184. I mean, you got monsters all over the place. So Do you feel I mean, comfortable enough to that you can go 7 minutes?
Yeah, yeah. After last weekend, the confidence is definitely there. I was a little unsure. I didn't know how the weight cut was going to be performing wise. I mean, the week before I made weight at Virginia Tech, but I kind of went through a practice 2 hours later, nothing like too hard, like nothing like a live match. So yeah, I was nervous going into last weekend of how my body was gonna keep up, how I was gonna, my body just how I was gonna feel if I was gonna, feel great first period and then crash the second and third because, that was a concern, but made the weight and yeah, the first match was, quick pin and then the second match, the kid wrestled me hard and made things really hard on me. I got the tech fall and even throughout that match, we got into a scramble in the first period, and I was really worried. I was like, I'm gonna gas. Like that was in the back of my head, like I'm gonna get really, really tired. But I was surprised. My mind was kind of playing tricks on me. Like a second, third period, I was refreshed. I was ready to go. I felt no fatigue. Then, scored 20 points that match and ran off the mat and, was doing sprints and, conditioned for about 10 minutes after the match and, had tons of energy after. So yeah,
Good.
confidence is really, really high after last weekend, just wrestling at the pace I did and knowing that I can maintain it and not being uh having the surprise of not needing that in the back of my head that oh I'm gonna get tired because the weight cut is making me do a lot more extra work, extra two a days, which is my body's responding well and it's just adding to my conditioning. So yeah, I got no worries, ahead on these big competitions of if I'm gonna get tired just because, yeah, I know that I can make the weight and, feel great during the whole match and after the match still have tons of energy. So I think yeah, a lot of good is coming from getting that weight down and doing it right and yeah, staying down, having tons of more energy than I did at 97.
Awesome, man. And that's super glad. I like, especially like just as a fan of somebody that's followed you since your freshman year in high school. Like it's definitely. I'm glad it's not something that's a burden to you. So it's definitely
Mm,
glad to hear. So at the end of the day, though, like i- if you had a young kid was that was cutting weight, doing something like that you're going through right now, what would your, I guess, best advice be to them? Like, because there's no way what you're doing is easy, like what you have already
yeah.
done. You're down there, but like, I guess, because there's a lot of people that say, hey, I mean, you talk to different people. I heard just the other day, it might have been on Mike Mal's show, but they were saying, hey, you shouldn't cut weight until you're in college. At the end of the day, wrestle what you wrestle through high school, middle school, youth, whatever the case may be, until you get to college and have the nutritionist, the strength coach, just the you have everything that's there that's needed for you. But I mean, at the end of the day, I guess if somebody is in high school right now and they're watching this, what would your best advice be to them if they're sitting there and they have to make a big cut? Say they can't make 152, so they got to go to 145 or whatever the case may be. Well, and I, going through what you've went through, what have you learned through the process that you would be able to help? Because like this is a struggle with a lot of the people within the wrestling community. You know what I mean? So what
Yeah.
have you learned, I guess, through it, big guy?
Yeah, it definitely is. Cutting weight it definitely ruined some kids' relationships with the sport. I was lucky enough growing up that I did cut a little weight in high school, not really middle school or elementary school. My dad always had me wrestle up, but in high school, just better for our high school team. And, I had my brother too, who was a weight class above me. So it was like, we about weighed the same. One of us had to go down. So his philosophy with us was we're never gonna skip a meal. He was always gonna feed us and just work extra. You're gonna get one more workout in and you're never gonna starve yourself. You're gonna hit every meal and yeah, you're just gonna work it off. So I was very blessed to have him guiding me through that and showing me the right way to do it. So now that I'm in college, and the first time I was making 84, I was doing it the wrong way. I was very immature with my nutrition and stuff off of the mat. Was was looking at food of more of, I was gonna starve myself so I can, have this ice cream tonight, and just doing stuff for pleasure. Where nowadays, even now that second time around, and I've learned all that, I haven't missed a meal yet. Cutting down to 84, I'm still eating every single meal. It's just, you gotta learn to fuel your body. Really, really take nutrition seriously. Talk to the people that are well informed in it, and there's a lot of resources out there, and you got to really play with a lot of things. What makes your body feel right, and yeah, I would just say make sure, never skip a meal. You always gotta, be feeding yourself even day before, you gotta get all your meals in. It's gonna make it easier on yourself, and yeah, you're gonna feel better. And then leading up to it, day before, cut out a little bit of water, lower the sodium, little stuff like that. But yeah, that's the biggest thing that I've taken away is to fuel your body the right way, and not make it starve, because that's just going to make it so much harder on yourself. And in place of that, you might have to do, 2 workouts every single day. You might have to wake up in the morning before school and do either a lift, or do some cardio, do another wrestling practice. But it's only going to be for better in the end. So you just got to take it for what it is, and really value and get the value out of you get to do this extra work. It's not something that you have to do. It's something that, yeah, if you want to do it the right way and have the results you want, it's a privilege to do the extra work. And yeah, the weight part of it and getting your weight off is just, you could look at that as to advantage, because it makes you have to work extra.
Yes, sir. I like that. And to be honest with you, there's not a lot of people that look at it like that. So you got a heck of a mindset, buddy. Like I can definitely respect that to the fullest. And was it more or less like, hey, Gavin, like let's cut you down to 184 because hey, we could throw Geog here, we can throw Karcha here, but you in the center, it makes a beautiful thing. It does, and it does. Like when you really
Mhm.
look at when you look at the whole roster as a whole from 125 to heavyweight, whenever you put you at 184. And I know we like, don't get me wrong, like I'm excited about the Rogotskis, I'm excited about the Shoemates, but like we if we got a Gavin Hoffman, like you got to be in this lineup. Like so
Mhm.
I can understand it, but was that more or less like, hey, so we can make this work. Let's see if we can get you down to 184 so we can get the the best 10 on the mat. It was that I guess the main reason for the cut.
No, it actually wasn't. The coaches kind of, they had nothing to do with it. This was pretty much all my decision. It was, the coaches never even mentioned anything about me going
Wow.
84. In the summer, there's kind of, it was just the elephant in the room. Like, hey, we got two really good guys at 197, and Geog didn't want to cut down, and I didn't want to cut down. I was weighing 220 pounds. I was like, there's no way I'm going 84. And Geog was, big. He was like 215. So he was he was like, I'm not cutting down either. So it was, we're gonna battle for the spot. And then so yeah, we're both set on wrestling 97. And then some things kind of changed. I would say early October, like a month from wrestle offs. It was I don't know. It was the weirdest thing. It's like hard to describe, but I was like having dreams that I was supposed to wrestle 184. Like, I don't know, just like having dreams that, me wrestling, big match at 184 pounds. And I
You
was,
got one coming.
and then it was like, yeah, I took that, as a sign. And then it was something like every morning I would wake up with it on my mind. Like, we'll wrestle, I'm supposed to be at 184. Like, I was like just thinking about it so much. And then, I was still weighing like 215. So in the back of my mind, I was like, there's no way I could do this. Like, I don't know why I'm thinking about this so much, but I really started to like lock down everything in my life, nutrition wise, recovery wise, and the weight started falling off. And then, next thing I know, I'm waking up at 200 pounds, feeling great. And like 2 weeks before the wrestle offs, I get a little banged up where I'm off the mat, and I just come to the coaches and say, hey, I want to take this time and get my weight down. I want to go 184 this year. So I came to them about it, and I told Jay. He was the first one, and he was in shock. He thought I was messing with him, but yeah,
I
this
don't
was
blame you.
is what I
I
wanted to
would
do.
have thought you were too, buddy.
Yeah,
I
yeah, it's just
that
something
that's
where never expected it, and they, were surprised. They're, talking to each other about it, and yeah, I didn't think that was serious, but yeah, it was something that I had to think about for a while, and talk to the people around me first, and yeah, it was, a lot of hard conversation just because of what happened last time I was 84, but yeah, it's just, I got a lot more confidence in myself, and they have a lot more confidence in me that, I'm a different person this time around.
Yeah, absolutely. And even talking with your mom and dad, which amazing people, by the way. I mean, Mr. Jim, Miss Marissa, I'm just amazing. They really did, man. I went up and mind you, like I'm just a guy that loves Ohio State, loves this sport, and I go to the Clarion Open, and I'm sitting there, and I just go up and sit. Kartzla's dad's up there, your parents were up there, and I just sat down and yeah, I sat down right beside your dad, and man, he just started talking and how you got into wrestling, and your mom started really telling me like how it was like because usually that's what I lead off with, like how did you first get into it? But I'll touch on it and see if I'm close at all. Like from what I gathered, whenever you first got introduced to it, it was more or less like instead of like wanting to watch cartoons and watch this other stuff, like you were really into wrestling so heavily that it's like you were wanting the magazines, you were wanting the like you became obsessed with this sport at a very young age.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's more or less what your mom was telling me. It was a pretty cool. It was cool. And what an amazing family you have, buddy.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm, very, very thankful and blessed that, yeah, I have the family that I do. They've, my mom and dad supported me, ever since I was little. They would, my dad would work a lot, they both would, but yeah, they would find time. I mean, where we're from in central PA, it's like it's we grew up in a town with, there's probably 100 kids in my high school class. We got little resources, so they found a way to, let us chase our dreams, driving us an hour and a half to, Ken Chertow growing up, hour and a half down and back every, 3 times a night. So yeah, I was very, very thankful to grow up, with them just full support. And yeah, growing up was different for me. I didn't, take, watch, even now people give me crap because, I've never seen like a Disney movie or Marvel or any cartoon stuff like that. That's not, what my childhood was built around. I was looking forward to the Flow Wrestling films coming out and getting the Win magazines and stuff like that. So yeah, it was just a different life. Wrestling was something that I really enjoyed, and I think it was largely, big reason because of my brother. Having an older brother, I look back on it now, and it's such a lucky thing to have an older brother, and someone who shows you the way, and who's, he had 3 years on me. So it was like he started wrestling when he was about like 5, 6 years old, and I was his first training partner. I was, 3 years old, getting moves drilled on me in the living room, and that's how I kind of fell in love with it, was through him. I was too young to come to practice, so he would come home, and we would wrestle. He would show me moves. So yeah, I was, lucky to be in that environment and have parents and a brother like him.
That's awesome. And he's because what he went to Indiana for a little bit, and then didn't he finish up? I want to where did he finish up at? I mean,
He
I'll be Bucknell.
yeah, other way, Bucknell and then Indiana.
Not
He
I see
started
when
Bucknell.
I remember whenever you guys because you guys hit each other and you end up getting him 11-6.
Yeah,
Whenever
yeah,
it was like an
yeah,
extra match there at Indiana or something like that. I remember.
yeah.
Which how was that? Like just and I know it's just an extra match as for the duel, like getting people some matches and stuff, but just to wrestle your own brother in a match in college, like what was that like? Even afterwards, like just the whole experience had to be. Was it different or was it just like, hey, this is just what we do? Like, no big deal.
Yeah, yeah, it was, I don't know, it was a lot of emotions going in, like, for him especially. It was, he had a rough luck in his wrestling career. He was, in high school, no state runner up, was very successful, was ranked in the country, had a great freshman year at Bucknell national qualifier as a true freshman. And then injuries kind of just struck him bad, where I mean he blew out his knee, was never gonna wrestle again, came back, got hurt again, and then went to Indiana. And yeah, I mean, he was just unlucky, just couldn't get healthy. And I felt really, really bad for the situations that he was in. And just because, I grew up wrestling on my whole life. And him being at the D1 level, and at the Big Ten level with me, it just meant a lot to me. And just looking back now of where we came from, the small town, lack of resources. We didn't have much. We didn't have the best club 10 minutes from us. So we pretty much just had each other. And we did have a great high school program, great high school coaches, and great people in our elementary program, which really helped us. But yeah, when we wrestled in our extra in the duel against Indiana, that was his last match ever. So that was we knew that going into it. Is he didn't really wrestle that year. He was always banged up. And it was our last duel of the year for us at Ohio State, and I needed one more match to get the RPI rankings to be eligible for a bid if I needed one. So I needed an extra match. And it just wound up that it was like he was like, "Hey, yeah, I'll wrestle you." He's not 100%, but he was up for it. So his last match ever. And I needed an extra match to get
Well,
those 15 matches. So it worked out perfectly, and he was down for it.
yeah,
And he was,
that
yeah, it
makes
was it
that
was a lot
story
of
even
emotions.
better. I'm super glad I asked about that. That's awesome, man. It's awesome he did that for you, and just like you said, coming where you guys came from to end. To be honest, like you could sit there and look at it like, you know, you, man. To be honest, outside of winning a national championship, I know it might sound a little cliche, but like that's a pretty cool way to go out, like helping your brother get his RPI up to get him in, to where he's trying to go. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, like that's awesome, man. Like that's family to the fullest, and you can't ask for respect to him too. Like, but like that's awesome, man. Garrett sounds like a hell of
Yeah.
a buddy.
Yeah, yeah, he absolutely is. Yeah, I was yeah, very, very grateful for him. And yeah, looking back at it, I mean, I've had some ups and downs in my college career, making the semis, some really high moments. But looking back at it, that's the one that's probably always gonna stick with me. Wrestling him in a duel, that's just a great story that's always gonna stay with me. And it just matters a little bit more to me, just because family means so much. And what he's done for me, and his last match ever of wrestling me at a each other on a Big Ten stage, it was very special. We had a lot of family out there. So that was a special day for both of us. And probably that one of the biggest highlights of my college and wrestling career overall.
It's understandable, buddy. And you've had one of, I mean, you go in. Actually, we'll dive into it, man. Like I mean, you come out of high school, ranked 12th in the country, three-time PA state champion, and you what we'll start with what made you choose Ohio State out of, you're a blue chip recruit. You can do and go to a lot of different places. What separated Ohio State from everybody else?
Yeah. So I didn't have the picture perfect recruiting or anything like that. It wasn't like a lot of these kids that I'm on the team with now, their like whole life was, destined to be Ohio State. They grew up, their childhood room was decked with Ohio State stuff. But mine was opposite, because I grew up an hour from State College. So I always thought growing up, I'm going to Penn State. There's no other school I'm going to. It was set. I didn't even think about going to another school. So once I started my recruiting process, it was this is all a waste of time. I'm going to Penn State. I'm not going to any other other these schools. And I was ranked what, second in the country at the time in my junior year, and yeah, a lot of coaches reaching out, and it was like gave them some time, but never really like put any time into looking somewhere else because I was going to Penn State, so I took my visit to Penn State and everything, and I just thought it was a shoo-in. I'm going to Penn State, and things happen for a reason, and yeah, they didn't. They recruited me, but not till not really anything crazy serious where uh I was looking to commit, but yeah, they went another direction and didn't recruit me. So it was like, yeah, I had to find another school. I was kind of left in the dark because I always thought I was going to go to Penn State, and that wasn't an option anymore because uh, they recruited at my weight Michael Beard, who was number one in the country. So it was like, yeah, I can't. I'm not going to Penn State now. They got someone else at my weight, and it made me, and this was probably halfway through my junior year, and started to talk to the other schools and really find other options. And yeah, growing up though, I hated Ohio State. Ohio State was my least favorite wrestling team, and just because I was a Penn State fan, I hated Ohio State, always
Absolutely, I
rooted
get it.
against them. So
Respect.
yeah, and then Ralph, our recruiting coordinator, reached out
Amazing.
to me, and yeah, he was amazing guy, and he convinced me to come on a visit, and I wasn't like excited for it. I like we're my dad was debating on even taking me. He was like, "Oh, it's like a 6-hour drive." He's like, "I got work this weekend. I don't even know if it's is this going to be a waste of time?" He didn't think that he was like, "I'm gonna waste this whole weekend taking you out here, and you're not gonna come here." Like he's like looking at the roster. He's like, "Oh, we got." They got all these guys at your weight. Why would you want to go? But I was like, yeah, but it's Ohio State, Big Ten. They're like top three school in the country. Let's just go and check it out. It'll be if anything, it'll be just a cool experience. So we went. I went on my unofficial visit here, and I met the coaches and everything, and toured around, and I remember leaving Columbus. Entering Columbus of, I'm never going to come here, and leaving it within a day and a half of telling my dad on the ride home that I'm coming here just because of the coaches and the guys on the team. I just felt like it's where I needed to be. I visited a lot of schools before and I left, kind of like, yeah, it was a nice school, but coming to Ohio State,
Yeah,
it was kind of different of, this is where I need to be. I just felt comfortable around everyone and just comfortable that, just history, guys have came here and done great things, and I had every resource and, support I needed to do so. So yeah, it just felt like home to me. And yeah, I just told my dad, I'm coming here. He was a little skeptical at first, but he was like, he was like, I'm thinking the same thing. I really want you to go here too. And then yeah, that next week they made me an offer. I jumped on it, and yeah, that was the rest is history.
yeah. Because I'll tell you what, talking with your parents, they definitely seem, at least with like Coach Ryan and Ralph and just everybody involved. Just it seems like it's been a great fit. And to be honest with you, like you said, like you might view it as, I mean, overall, your time at Ohio State. So you choose them, and do you feel like it was the right choice? Like like sitting here coming into your final season, are you happy? Like looking back at the last 5, 6 years, are you like, this? I made the right choice.
Yeah, I absolutely am. Yeah, there's some doubts early on, that's for sure. A lot of what I was dealing with early in my wrestling career here, first 2 years, not making the starting lineup, even the third year, not making, NCAs, struggling wrestling wise, just yeah, there's a lot of doubt, just just because I was immature at the time. I wanted to blame other people. I didn't want to take responsibility for myself. I wanted to blame, oh, I made the wrong choice, like all that. But looking back, there's no question that I made the right choice, just because. I don't think at any other program I would have had to deal with the struggles that I had and been supported the way I have by the coaches that have been around me, Coach Ryan, Jay, Travell when he was here, Bo, Logan. It's like these guys have stuck with me the whole way where it was very clear looking back where they just could have left me in the dry, just let me go, just giving up on me, but they stayed loyal to me, and I stayed loyal to them, and trusted in them, and it really showed these past 2 or 3 years of just loyalty and trust being built up and belief in between each other. And yeah, there's no other place that I could see myself, just because maybe some places I might have seen a little more success right away, just because it would have been easier for me. I wouldn't have had a battle for a spot. A lot of things would have been handed to me, so I might have had success early on, but nothing like now where I'm very happy because of the person that I've turned out to be through this process and these struggles, and being around guys. I mean, being around the coaches that we have, like Coach Ryan. It's kind of like a no-brainer for any parent. Why wouldn't you want your kid to be led by someone like that and be
No
coached
doubt.
by Jay Jaggers and Logan Stieber?
No doubt. And
So,
and that's even as somebody that's just been able to just have very little interaction with Coach Ryan, but enough to know that like this is somebody that's just got started in doing this right here and what he's tried to help me with. And who am I?
mhm.
You know what I mean? Just he's got to be a solid man. You know what I mean? So uh it it just seems like such a family that you guys have there. Like just it just seemed that's the vibe that I got. Even being at the Clarion Open, seeing you guys interact with each other, seeing there was the way you guys went, like even you, like, hey, there's some guy. You stood up, like when I was talking to your parents, you literally stood up. It's like, hey, there's some guys getting ready to come up. Boom, like you're heading down. You're going to help Sammy and
Mhm.
whoever else coach, and because you got guys on mat 3, guys on mat 8, guys on mat 6. So it was such a and I seen Purdue and Navy and this ain't a knock on anybody. It just seemed different in that Ohio State corner. You know what I mean? Like it just seemed different, very different to the Clarions and everything else. And I'm sure they all have amazing programs, amazing, a good sources of just a great brotherhood or whatever you want to call it. But it just seemed very different for everything that I saw that day. It was like, wow, like you guys were sitting with each other, you guys were watching each other, you guys just it's I guess from your standpoint, like what is the best way to explain what it is at Ohio State that separates it from everybody else?
Yeah, I think that's a big part, just the family and the closeness of every guy on the team. I mean, we all root for each other. No one's by themselves of, they're just for themselves, they only care about themselves. I think that's the biggest thing is every guy on the team cares for everyone else. There's no one that is just worrying out for their best interest. They want the best for the team. And I think that's where, especially I want to say it started, last year we had a really close team too. And I think this year it's kind of just feeding off of that where it's becoming even closer now. Last year we had just closeness within the guys that made us want to fight harder for each other. And yeah, and then this year it's just kind of built off that. The guys that came in last year, they've seen the closeness we had, and yeah, they just want that same thing. So yeah, it's just everyone's for, we're all in it together, and I think that's because we just, sacrifice, and, we do everything together. We're wrestling each other every day. We're, conditioning, and we do everything together. So it's a big family. And when one of us go out there and compete, there's five guys that all, feel like they're out there with them, whether, they're pushing them in practice, they're helping them, in this area of his life. So yeah, I think that's a big thing is, when one guy takes the mat, there's, five guys that have helped that guy in some way, and they feel like they're out there too with them. So yeah, we all want the best for each other, and yeah, we're gonna help out, in any way. So coaching each other, doing whatever they need to be their best.
And I mean, I'll tell you what, because whenever you lose people like Caleb, Grundy, Tate, what was it a big? I mean, it's hard to replace an Ethan Smith or especially a Caleb Romero and Tate coming halfway through and finishing up from Utah Valley. But what's it been like? Because like now you're the guy, like going from like, and maybe you were last year, but like just them being in their final season and now taking that role of like, bro, this is your team. Like at the end of the day, like it's it, it's your like you've been there longer than anybody. Like this is you, Dylan, Carson, and I know I think you got a year on them, right?
Yeah, 1 year.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's how has that transition been from taking? Has it been like, hey, I got to step up, be this guy, be this leader now that Caleb's gone, Ethan's gone, Tate's gone. Now I got to step up and show these young guys what Ohio State is and this family atmosphere and these good freshmen that came in, the Vinny Kilkeries, just another Rocco Welsh's and everything else. Like, how has that transition been for you, buddy?
Yeah, yeah, that's been something that I've been really working on. It's I'm not really outspoken where I'm not going to give speeches or anything like that. I leave that to Sammy. Sammy's really good at that. He's the guy that's gonna, speak and give you those hard speeches and the guy that's gonna, come at you like that. But for me, it's just showing them how to do the right things, at practice, outside of practice, how to handle your life, how to handle school. So for me, it's a big thing of leading by example and being the one in there that can, show you that this is the way through how I do it. And, someone that can, a lot of the younger guys can ask for help. I'll always help them, always want to help them and just show them, just learn by what I've went through. Because yeah, I've been here 5 6 years, so I've been through it all. I know what to expect. So yeah, whenever they're struggling with something, I've definitely struggled with it. So it's like, yeah, it's just open communication between me and, especially these younger guys, because we got a ton of younger talent in the room, and they're gonna struggle, a little bit, and it's good for them to see, just to see through that and to have ways to overcome that. And yeah, I just believe holding myself to a very high standard, whether it's in the room or in the locker room or anything, just living my life in a way that the younger guys could go in there and see that, this is Ohio State wrestling, and this is how each and every one of us should be living our lives and training at that same level.
My man, like I don't know how you could have put that any better. That because I feel like you need both. Like you need that Sammy, but I don't feel like you need five Sammys.
Yeah.
So like I feel like I'd rather have one Sammy come in here, pump us up, get us ready. Like I heard he gave a speech before the Virginia Tech duel, and then but they need those guys that, like you said, lead by example. Somebody that they can look up to and be like, Gavin's been through the ups, the downs, the whole everything. I mean, one of the greatest stories. Like I've been watching the NCAA tournament my whole life, and as somebody that's followed the Buckeyes heavily, like your your redshirt junior year was one of the most amazing things I've ever watched. And actually, let's step into that NCAA tournament, man. When you look at the names you beat, you go. I think it was Salone, Nino, Woodley. I believe. I could be wrong. I
Hmm.
could that's what I'm thinking. So Salone ends up in the NCAA championship last year against Nino. And Nino gets a national championship. So obviously two dogs. Woodley has always been so just and you come in as a 21 seed. Uh that day, like whenever you're doing what you did and just upsetting those guys and you're sitting in the semifinals, like just walk us through that, man. Like, what was that day like? We seen it on TV, and it was. I don't know I don't know what other word to use other than just magical. It might sound a little corny, but bro, it was like this is all. It was just the look on your face. Like I remember you covering your face, like after that. I think it was I don't know if it was the Nino win or the Woodley win, but it was just like so happy for you because, like you said, the ups, the downs, and being able to follow you throughout it. And it was like, man, this is awesome. But what was it like actually for you that day?
Yeah, that was probably the craziest day and a half of my life. I was, looking back in that now, yeah, it's kind of unbelievable that it happened the way it did. And yeah, it was just hard to explain because I going into that tournament, I was ready to lose it like all. I was like, I'm just gonna go out here and Jay was big on me, in my ear all the time, telling me to believe that I was, I was better than these guys. I was on the rise, and he was big in my ear. And then it was just the big thing of the weekend was just wrestle with my heart. Stop thinking, stop, throw technique out the door, and just wrestle with my heart, and just fight harder than these guys. And and that was it. And yeah, it was crazy. A lot of overtime wins, a lot of drama, and then yeah, it just felt like destiny. When I got my winning in the quarterfinals, it all just happened so fast. Where it was, one after the other. I couldn't, yeah, believe that it was happened, but yeah, looking
It
back
was
on
like
it,
that low single was just unstoppable, bro. Like it
yeah,
was the most beautiful shot. I like you can. It was a great tournament for a lot of people, but man, when you look back and like you were just just getting that
yeah,
low single. It was like butter, bro. It's the best way I can put it. It was amazing thing to watch. It definitely was. And heck, I can tell you that we appreciate it as fans and we're proud as hell of you, man. And I know that at least I mean and I'll speak for everybody because I don't think that there's anybody that follows this that wouldn't say the same thing that sits and lives in Ohio that follows the Scarlet and Gray and uh that wouldn't say the same thing, man. It was definitely, and you could tell that it was just gosh, it was so well deserved, buddy. Like I feel like you could see that you put in the work and you've really got a passion and love for this. But in your, I guess my next question would be, what's it gonna take for you to be back in that situation at 184 this year? Like, and I granted, I know a normal answer is like, hey, just go out and win. But like to get back on that podium at the NCAA's, it's a wicked tournament. It's 184 is no joke. But what do you feel like? Because you have that magical year. Last year, you missed the podium. This year, what's the mindset coming in to say, hey, what do I got to do to not even make the podium, but be on top of it?
yeah. Yeah, that's definitely the goal. I made the podium once, so that's not I could care less about being all American again. That's the thinking and mindset moving into this year is, yeah, it's I already, my dream when I was a little kid was never just to be an all American. So that's another big reason for the move down to 84 is that's a weight where I'm confident that it gives me my best shot to do so. And yeah, to do that, last year I dealt with a lot of injuries where, I couldn't really wrestle well or wrestle, nearly the ability I wanted to at the end of the year. I was really banged up going into the postseason. So the biggest thing for me is staying healthy, physically and mentally too, and really striving to get better in the room every day. And yeah, just something that I've been doing really, really well this year is just being more relentless and bringing more pressure, especially down a weight class. I have a lot more energy now, and I'm surprised I do so, but I do. So just bringing more energy and bringing the pace more and really making guys, wrestle and bury these guys because
I
yeah,
like that.
there's a lot of big names in the weight class, but I watch them and the way that I've been wrestling lately, I think that I can make it,
You're a big name in
not
that
even
weight
close with these guys.
and I feel like Jay would say this because I watched him, and honestly, he became my legitimate favorite wrestling coach, and I didn't get to see much. I mean, Coach Ryan stood to the side kind of at the Clarion Open, and granted, it's the Clarion Open. But Jaggers, man, he really went to bat for you guys and really, really stood by you guys. It just really fought for his guys. He wouldn't give an inch. Whether it was a takedown that really like it was questionable, and he was like, "Gosh, I remember looking at my ref. He's like, "You're sure that was a takedown? 100%. You put your life on that." And it was just like, man, I love this dude. And then there was this other kid. He actually wrestled Mendez the first round, and he kind of like put him in like a choke, and then he ended up Apollo or he caught somebody else for Ohio State. But man, he started choking him again, and Jaggers was like, "Yo, like I respect the way that he coached." But I guess the reason why I'm saying that is like Jay would tell you like, "Hey, be the best you. You're better. Like you are the best." And that's what I was just about to say. Is like when I look at 184, and you just said, "Hey, when you look at the names, there's some big names, but you're like when they look at it, they're like, shit, Gavin Hoffman's in this weight class now." Like, because that's the way I looked at it. And I literally posted it on Instagram, like, yo, 184 just changed. Like, this changes the whole landscape of 184. Like, and especially after watching those two matches, like, if 184 people ain't like the kids there ain't like, shit, we got to look out now. Like, there's another dog here. Like, then sorry for their luck because there is. And I'm excited for it because honestly, I think it was a good move for the team. I think it's a good move for you, and I'm sure it wasn't an easy one like we talked about earlier. But uh, I really, especially with you saying you have that energy, you have that's man, is that's exciting to hear, and it showed. It showed this past weekend, like yo, he can go. Like even a
Mhm.
tech, like I mean, you're sitting there letting down, getting up, like, and it was really what I wanted to see more than anything. Like the first one, I kind of wanted to see both. That's like as us Ohio State fans, knowing what you just did, knowing that you made this cut. I literally sat there and like saw you at the Clarion Open and was just like, holy, like it was like a whole different body. Like
Mhm.
it's a lot was easy. So like my first thought was like, man, like is he going to be able to go? So it was like, all right, so you made it. Seeing that you were going against Columbia was nice to see you get that pin. It was like nice. All right, he's feeling good. And then I was like, all right, how can he do with a, a, even a 5 6 minute match, like kicking and going, like with just. I was glad somebody was gonna like at least try to push you just to see and just even give you that confidence. You know what I mean? And it sounds like it did. And uh, just excited for you this year, bro. I guess I mean, and a long way about it that I just went. It's more or less just me being very excited for you being at 184. I think it's an amazing shot for the team. I think it's an amazing shot for you to go out. Like you said, you've made All American before, but when I look at the 184 deal, like I hope you believe that you can be on top of that podium because
Mhm.
we all.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate all that. Yeah, because yeah, it means a lot. Just, all that support and yeah, it's a hard choice, but yeah, like you said, it's the best shot that I'm gonna give myself and yeah, for the team too. I mean, I want the team, I know earlier in the year, a lot of we weren't a highly, ranked team. I think what they had us like 14th or something.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think that, the team that we got, we can, make a run at a trophy. And last year we got a trophy, but at the same time, I kind of, it didn't sit right with me because I didn't contribute that much. I won one match. I wasn't like a Romero, scoring the team points for us. And that's what I want to be this year. I want to be the one leading the pack at NCAs and being the one on the final day, needing to win the match to, lock the team trophy at whatever,
yeah,
whatever place. Yeah, I wanna be that for this year and for this team. So that was another big reason why, I wanna make the best team possible and the team that's gonna make the run at NCAs and yeah, do even better than we did last year.
absolutely, bro. And that I get that that's exciting, especially with just seeing like speaking of Caleb and like they had it. I don't know if it was the Big Ten. I think it was Big Ten posted it just after his match, after beating Higley and him walking down the hallway just after taking third, and which was kind of another one of those little we'll go with the word magical. It was just like nobody had him Nobody had you getting six. Nobody had him beating Hidley for third and fourth.
Yeah.
And you guys were battling for that trophy, and it was amazing. And I really to see you go down to 184, being that guy, to see you be able to go out like that, like it would be awesome, man. It definitely it, it, that would, and you can do it, buddy. Like I
Yeah.
know that I ain't telling you nothing you don't know. So I mean, you've put a career record together, and the injuries. I've watched the injury last year at Penn State, and right
Mhm.
before the postseason began, and you sat out a little bit before and then took it on at the Big Ten and did everything you could with what you got. So like we knew, you know what I mean? Like we knew you weren't 100 because like anybody that really pays attention, like we know what you can do. We know what you're capable of. And whenever it's crispy, buddy, there's nobody that can stop it. And you've proven it by beating a national champ and a national finalist in the same year. Uh,
Mhm.
so I mean, it more or less, brother. I hope this year it just goes well, and I hope it stays healthy. And I apologize for keeping you for 50 minutes because I was like, bro, give me like 30, 45 minutes. But so my fault, man.
No, this is great.
Yeah, man. And I definitely just appreciate it because Gavin, I'm honestly, man, like not only your 6 years at Ohio State, but your 4 years in high school. Like I was stoked when we landed you. Um, I, 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 I like interviewing everybody from different schools, everything. But everybody knows I'm a homer. I'm a Buckeye fan, man. So like, to be honest, like when Penn State didn't, they went a different route. We I can tell you we weren't upset because like whenever we got you, I know I was sitting at the house like we got one. You know what I mean? So I hope this year really does go well for you, bro, because I know especially the work that you just put in this off season to put yourself in the best situation to be on top of a podium, bro. I hope you get it, man. I really, and I mean that with everything I got because I know. Now, is there before I let you go, man? Is there any outside of this? All right, you finish off this season. Is there any freestyle like you thinking? Because I don't think people realize at the same time, like, bro, you can freestyle too. So is
Yeah.
there? Or are we just going to jump straight into our operations management?
No, yeah, this is something that yeah, I've been thinking about and talking about a lot is yeah, the plan is for me to do at least the Olympic cycle, so wrestle through 2028. Yeah, freestyle's always been my favorite. I haven't, just been able to wrestle in the summer because I always been hurt. So yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
that's
it's
what I
that's the
think a lot
plan
of
to
people
wrestle.
forget it. Good, man.
hmm Yeah,
Good.
yeah. I'm planning, yeah, to get at least a couple more years after my college career, give it a shot, make some national world teams. So yeah,
Yes,
it's
sir.
a lot of wrestling in my future.
Good, good. Because I feel like I know that it's there. Like especially with you being where you're at now, it's like you go 86. Like you know what I mean. But I guess it's like, hey, one thing
Yeah,
at a time. Let's tackle this
yeah.
season and we'll go from there. Let's
Yeah,
finish off the
I'm excited
postseason.
for that. But yeah, yeah, I'm trying to focus on this season, and then yeah, that's definitely the next area that yeah, I'm excited for.
Good, bro. Well, I can tell you, I'm excited for it, and I'm glad to hear like you just like even to hear that like after this season, like we still get to watch it because I mean it's been a fun 10 years, bro. Like I mean I
Yeah,
remember watching you when I was 25, 26 years old. I'm 35 now, man, and here I am talking to you. So
it's
like
crazy.
yeah, bro, it is because I remember it's been a fun ride though, man. And as a fan, man, we I appreciate it, bro. Like it's been a fun ride watching you. So I'm glad to hear that we might get another five,
Yeah.
six at or so definitely take it.
Absolutely. Yeah, appreciate everything, you do for the program. It means a lot.
Ah, no, yes, sir. I mean, this is I love it, man. This is something some people like to deer hunt, some people like to go racing, some people like I like my wrestling and I love my Buckeyes,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
We
Can't
appreciate
blame
what you guys do, and just from everything from Coach Ryan down to middle school Macron doing his thing. So
you.
we definitely appreciate it, man. And this is your squad this year, bro. Like you said, go off like Caleb. But at the end of the day, and take it a step further. Get on top of that thing. You deserve it,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's the goal. That's yeah, what we're all shooting for this year.
Yes, sir. You can do it, big man. And I just want to thank you for just taking this time. Again, sorry for taking an hour of it, but uh,
Nah,
yeah, hopefully, and honestly, I'll be down at a lot of the matches this year, so I want to link up because I got a little something I want to give you just for taking this, 56 minutes of your time. Say thank you, bro.
yeah, no problem at all. No, thanks for having me. No, this is great. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, and stay healthy. Stay healthy,
Yeah.
bro.
I definitely
Let's
will.
go.
Appreciate
Let's
that.
go. Let's go bring one back to Columbus, big man.
Yeah, let's do it.
All
It's a
right, my
plan.
man. You have a good night, bro.
All right, you too. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Gavin. All right, buddy.